television cameras, going from government, from national TV. It goes with security agents. They also follow him there. So whatever he does, Bimbo, he doesn't do on his own. He doesn't go negotiating on his own. And like I said, of course, he's free to move anywhere in Nigeria. Nobody is like the proverbial vegetable seller. Said OLUYOLE for the person that wants to buy the vegetable. The seller is already telling the person that my vegetable is not that of yesterday, it's not from yesterday. So whoever asked him that. So but the only question I would or maybe the thing I'm pondering about is that why didn't the Sheikh tell the Saudi authorities Saudi Arabia, Mecca was supposed to be the seat of his religion? Why didn't he tell them the other time that they cannot stop him from entering their territory? He attempted to go there and they sent him back because of the controversy surrounding him. Those very things he thinks we should, but those very things that he thinks is right, subtly supporting terrorism, in advocating for terrorists and the bandits and trying to make it look as if they are the victims, and their victims are the ones that actually brought the misfortune upon themselves. So these are the reasons that the Saudi authorities refused to let him into their country, and he doesn't seem to be bothered about that. I mean, the Sheikh, he doesn't seem to have anything to say about that. So he can flex his muscles here and tell us that he can visit anywhere in the country. Of course, he can come visiting. Nobody is going to stop him as long as he's not breaking any law. By coming from where he comes from to Ibadan, he has not broken any law. And if by any means they find it expedient for him to negotiate with the terrorists, I don't know if they want to involve him in the case of the Oluyole bandits. We cannot say yet, but even if that is what is going to get them out, well, so be it. I'm not a fan of Sheikh Gumi, but if he's going to contribute anything to making sure that these people return to us alive and on earth, well, why not? So be it.
Well, he made this known anyway, barely a day after one of the victims of the abduction in the Oluyole local government area of Oyo State dismissed claims that the abductors demanded the implementation of Sharia law in the state as part of the conditions for releasing the victims. And well, it also goes further to say that, well, that is according to the Muslim Rights Concern rejected the alleged demand for Sharia in a statement issued on Monday, describing the report as a lie from the pit of Jahannam, that is hell. And Mrs. Rachel Alamo, that is the principal of the community high school Esiele, Oyo State, was speaking from captivity in a new viral video, said the government said they never demanded the introduction of the law or 1 billion naira ransom as reported in some quarters, but rather for the release of their associates currently in the custody of Nigerian authorities. And well, he said he did not come to represent anyone in Ibadan, and that aligning with the Islamic group's position, Gumi wrote, I quite understand now how Islamophobia is shaping politics in Southwest and why I was unnecessarily dragged into their dirty local politics. I was in Ibadan not by the invitation of any Southwest Muslim individual or group, but as a representative of the coalition of Northern Muslim Ulama. Can anybody stop me from going anywhere in Nigeria?
Well, Northern Muslim Ulama. Okay, so he was in Ibadan recently.
Yes.
And was anybody uncomfortable with that? Because I'm trying to find out what was the reason for his outburst, for him saying that no one can stop him from visiting anywhere in Nigeria. Did anyone try to stop him from coming to Ibadan? Did anyone protest his presence in Ibadan? Because that's what I don't get. Why is he saying this? And why is he saying this at this time?
Maybe it was maybe he had some information about some things. You know, the other time, during the last administration in Oyo State, he visited Shaki.
So there was somewhere in Shaki, and it was not very clear what his mission was. But then you must know that he's also a controversial person. especially going by statements, and like I said before, what seems to be is support for the terrorists and what they do. It seems to blame the rest of the country for what these people have become, and even those that are coming to Nigeria that are not Nigerians are coming to Nigeria to perpetrate terror. Sheyi Gumi would always side with them. I've never for once heard him empathize or sympathize with the victims. I've never heard a word of condolence coming from him for the victims. It's always about the terrorists. It always sounds as if they are the victims and that we Nigerians are the ones that brought this upon ourselves. That's the way it's always sounding. So of course he must expect that people might be uncomfortable if he's visiting any part of the country aside northern Nigeria. Now, yes, true, the law permits him to go anywhere he wants, as long as no criminal activity has been pinned on him. And of course, if direct criminal activity has been traced to him, I guess by now he would have been arrested. But then his statements, his utterances, of course, people in many parts of the country will be uncomfortable having him around. But then, like I said, nobody, no law, he can go anywhere. Of course, he can go anywhere he likes. He is Sheyi Gumi. But like I also said before, why didn't he tell the Saudi authorities that you cannot stop me from coming into your country? And it is for these same reasons that we are uncomfortable with him in parts of the country. That's why the Saudi authorities too were uncomfortable with him coming into their country. So I think he should do a self-search. He should search himself as to why is it that some people are uncomfortable with his coming to Ibadan, or why he feels that some people are uncomfortable with his coming to Ibadan, and not just Ibadan. I guess many other parts of the country across southern Nigeria will be uncomfortable to have him around. But then, like I said, it's free to visit people, or you have a problem with his visiting?
I don't have any problem with his visiting, but people, of his, because of his antecedents and all those things that is linked to, people are always uncomfortable, like you said.
He talks too much.
He talks too much, yes, and he's a kind of controversial, discreet person. Yes, he was in Shaki the other time. Nobody knew what he came for, actually, and he left. And it is not compulsory that anybody knows when he came visiting or when he left, but because of his controversial nature, his controversial person, that is why people are always apprehensive of his visit.
Well, if he says he seems to belong to the realm of the untouchable, I think people should not just ignore him. By the time we keep making noise about his being around, if he eventually pays another visit to Ibadan, by the time you keep making noise about his being around, that's when he will think he's important or something like that. But then, if he's important enough or significant enough to contribute, like I said before, to freeing the Orire captives and other captives across the country, if it's the only way, well, so be it. Like I said, at least he should make himself useful. If he's coming to Ibadan, let him make himself useful. If he can talk to the bandits to release the principal, the teachers, and those children, those innocent children, he should make himself useful, like I said. And don't just come to Ibadan and say a lot of things and then make us feel as if we are non-entities here or whatever. Don't come and flex your muscles or spread your wings. Just come and make yourself useful. All right. Well, this morning, like I often do, I can't help but remember Chinua Achebe, the late prolific author, The Eagle on Iroko. Well, why am I remembering him this morning? President Tinubu says, under my watch, 1,859 families have accessed 128 billion naira for housing. President Bola Tinubu. And what's the link with Chinua Achebe, you may want to ask? Remember his popular saying, the lizard that jumped down from the Iroko tree. If he says if nobody will praise him, he will praise himself. So 1,059 families have accessed 128 billion naira for housing, and well, every Nigerian, from his president's body language now, every Nigerian is good to go for decent housing, and then also we have overcome the burden of the estate agents that have made housing, access to good housing, a nightmare. President Bola Tinubu has declared that under his administration, more than 1,859 families, and that number is very negligible if you ask me, Across more than 25 states have been able to access 128 billion in mortgages fixed at 9.7% and repayable over 20 years for affordable housing. Now, the president made a disclosure on Tuesday in a post on his official X handle at official ABAT. The president will record that his administration promised on a national scale 100,000 homes in all, with 50,000 in the first phase, through cities of 1,000 units in every geopolitical zone and the Federal Capital Territory (FCT) and estates of up to 500 units in the remaining 30 states. Expressed delight that he has been able to walk his talk. What stands today is no longer a drawing. We broke ground on more than 3,000 homes at Kasana in Abuja, the 2,000 unit city at Ibejuleki in Lagos, at such advanced completion, with sales already underway and across the country. More than 15,000 units are rising as I write this. Well, first and foremost, well done, Mr. President. But then, first and foremost, like I said, that number is very negligible. And from what I'm reading here, it is only for the super rich, the elite. Those, it's not as if ordinary Nigerians. It's not as if the scheme is targeting ordinary Nigerians. It's not targeting. Well, I'm not saying exactly that the poorest of the poor, but then, like I said, ordinary Nigerians who don't necessarily have to be among the poorest of the poor. Even they do not have access to these facilities that he's talking about. I would rather like to see a situation where the kind of a mouse scheme under the Lamadeshino administration, if you remember, the one that one at Ajoda Newtown, where
just moderate challenge,
and they were, and the governor at that time, Alhaji Lamadeshino, God rest his soul, targeted ordinary citizens, civil servants mostly, for access to those housing units. Not the kind that we have across the country now, where just the blue bloods are the ones that can afford it, that can access it. So that is what I would be. Well, like I said, well done, Mr. President, but I would commend you more if you had targeted ordinary Nigerians and then make sure. But then, of course, under this scheme, I guess the government will be working with some private concerns and consultants, and those ones have to make their money. And the government too doesn't want to lose anything. Housing subsidy, I don't know what they call it in the. That's why I call it housing subsidy. I don't know what they call it in the realm of estate management. Something like that is what I guess should have been done. But then they will tell you anything that has to do with making life better for the masses. They will say Nigeria cannot afford it. They will say Nigeria will collapse. The economy will collapse if they venture into that. Just as they tell us that if you spend too much on education, that the country would collapse. So forgetting that they are building and investing in the future when it comes to revitalization of the universities. So, well, like I said, Mr. President is beating his chest. Chino Achebe, the desert that jumped down from the Iroko tree.
Well, he is going further. He went further to say that housing has moved from a welfare conversation to a national growth strategy. Real estate and construction now sit among Nigeria's major GDP contributors. Proved that every affordable home financed is also a factory order, a labor contract, a mortgage asset, a household balance sheet, and a contribution to national output. That is why I promised for our housing sector. That is what I promised for our housing sector, and that is what is now being delivered. The New Hope was never charity. It is the right of every Nigerian to a place called home.
Speaking from both sides of the mouth, he says that's moved from a welfare conversation. So in a way, Bimbo, if you can interpret and read between the lines, if you look closely enough, you see that what he's saying is that the government, despite doing this, the government is not Father Christmas.
Yes.
And that you shouldn't expect that you wouldn't pay for decent housing. Yes, you would pay, but then when you start having to pay through your nose, so even mortgage that you have to pay back in a period over a period of 20 years, if the amount is still astronomical, well, only the super rich can afford it. And then you see a situation whereby this elite, they'll be taking over those houses and then subletting at outrageous rates to hapless citizens. So, government of the rich, for the rich, and by the rich. That's what I'm seeing here. And they said that, okay, what I promised for housing sector, like you read, that is what now been real hope was never charity. Renewed hope was never charity. Then now said it is the right of every Nigerian to a place called home. And of course, we have to pay through the nose for that place called home. Let's have this quick commercial break and we'll be back.
Wake up, it's choco time. Donna Choco is here with a taste you love. Just open for and enjoy the chocolatey bite. Donna Choco 3-in-1. Taste it, love it. Donna Choco 3-in-1. I love it.
Introducing the new Dano Choco 3-in-1. It's tasty, creamy, and satisfying. Taste it, love it.
Conversation.
Alright, we're back and it's still conversation on Oluyole 98.5 FM. So Bimbo, politics now. INEC seems to have finally delivered should I say the nail into the
Coffin
of that faction of the PDP that is not being run by Mr. Wiki and his cohorts. So from what I'm seeing here now, if you don't belong to the Wiki faction of the PDP and you want to run for political office, it's a no-no. Just forget your ambition. If what I'm reading here is anything to go by, it says INEC fully recognizes Wiki-backed PDP NWC, that's National Working Committee. Let's quickly see what this is all about before we go into any conclusions. There are riders. It says pardon me. It says INEC fully recognizes Wiki-backed PDP NWC. The Independent National Electoral Commission (NANEC) has removed the names of Ahmed Yayari and Daniel Woyenkigu. I hope I got that right. From its portal as PDP National Treasurer and National Financial Secretary respectively. The two party officials were replaced with Odeyemi Maxine Oladiro and Erim Donatus Henry as the new executive. Oladiro and Henry emerged National Treasurer and National Financial Secretary respectively on Sunday. March 29th, through a consensus along with 19 other members at the party's 2026 National Convention held at the Velodrome of the Moshood Abiola Stadium in Abuja. Ahmed and Daniel, whose names were removed, are part of the Sheyi Makinde-backed Kabiru Turaki faction, while Odeyemi and Eyim are members of the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike's faction, which is also the recognized faction of the PDP. Now, INEC Adela recognized the FCT Minister's faction by putting the names of Abdulrahman Mohammed as the national chairman and Samuel Anyawu as the national secretary, but had left the names of Ahmed Yayari and Daniel as part of the executive, a situation which created confusion. Now, with recent updates on its portal, all members of the National Working Committee NWC of the PDP on INEC's portal are now aligned with FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. Okay, there is a comprehensive list here of the Wike-backed PDP NWC members. And I guess the other faction, the Turaki faction, I guess they've seen this coming. Especially if you have to go by recent political events in your state, I guess they saw this coming.
Yes, that was why they started a jumping boat.
Not really jump, but there was an alliance.
Alliance, yes.
That faction of the PDP with the APM. Political alliance. And what I don't know now, Governor Sheyi Makinde, with this development now, the governor still insists that he's still a member of the PDP. But I do not know. Is he going to acknowledge himself as a member of the Wike faction, or is he still going to be part of the faction that they are telling us is not recognized. Well, he is the politician, and himself and other juggernauts, other party juggernauts that are in that faction, I guess they will have an idea as to what should be their next line of action.
Now, in the meantime, political parties are racing to resolve post-primary disputes, finalize candidates lists, and conclude consultations on running mates after the Independent National Electoral Commission fixed June 26 for the release of access codes to its nomination portal and July 11 as the deadline for the submission of candidates, particulars for the 2027 general elections. As appeals, grievances, and leadership tussles continue to chill the conclusion of party primaries, INEC has warned that unresolved internal conflicts and ongoing court challenges to its electoral timetable could complicate preparations for the polls, even as major parties intensify efforts to beat the nomination deadline and complete their presidential tickets. I think that is what has that is what is on ground now. Now, the PDP faction has been recognized by INEC. Although there have been various problems, bedeviling the party for some time now, and some other parties too. Some other parties here. You can see the African Democratic Congress, ADC, All Progressives Congress, All Progressives Grand Alliance, and some other parties here, parties across the country, and they are now racing to settle their scores. Well, I hope they do very soon.
But in this scenario now, I wonder what exactly, where exactly stands, or what is the implication of what the Supreme Court asked them, the PDP, to do the other time. I think they said they should return to the High Court or something like that. So I do not know where that stands in this unfolding scenario, especially now with INEC fully recognizing one of the factions. And on what criteria have they decided to recognize the Wike-backed faction? In any case, still on 2027, INEC opens candidates nomination portal June 26, and the rider defends decision to appeal judgments on election timetable, says 2,103 double registrations invalidated in Ekiti, and parties ask National Assembly to review Electoral Act after operational deficiencies exposed during primaries. I think that is very key. And on Atiku Abubakar versus Babacho Lawal, remember the former SGF, one who was involved in a grass cutting scandal that was labeling Elijah Atiku with all sorts of allegations, saying, calling him a religious bigot, and saying he wasn't corrupt, saying he's not fit to be a leader, and he only recognized all that after he failed to get what he wanted from the party primaries, and that was of the opinion that it's a case of the pot calling the kettle black. Now the article media team has lashed out at Babacho Lawal again, and they are saying Babacho Lawal brought accusations but forgot proof. And says former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has fired back at the latest allegations leveled against him by the former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF, Mr. Babacho Lawal. Atiku dismissed the claims as an unfortunate cocktail of bitterness, conjecture, and political revisionism masquerading as public interest. Well, I think I agree with Alhaji Atiku Abubakar on this. Now, in a sharply worded statement issued on Tuesday by Senior Special Assistant on Public Communication Frank Shaibu, Atiku mocked Lawal's recent television appearance. He described it as a curious spectacle of a man armed with outrage but bereft of evidence, rich in allegations but poor in facts. So, well, they're also saying that Lawal don't think they admitted to aligning with and campaigning for another aspirant long before the primary was concluded, and having failed to secure victory for his candidate, he is now allegedly trying to dress personal disappointment in the borrowed groups of a moral outrage. Plenty of English.
Yes. Now, still talking article here. Now, the June 12th anniversary is just about 2 days away, and well, people are talking, personalities are talking, politicians are talking, and the secretary to the government of the Federation, SGF, Senator George Akume, has revealed that former Vice President Atiku Abubakar was among the political leaders who agreed to the adoption of rotational presidency in Nigeria following the annulment of the historic June 12, 1993 presidential elections. And Akume made the assertion on Tuesday while responding to questions at the World Press Conference in Abuja held as part of activities marking Nigeria's 27th Democracy Day anniversary. And the SGF's remarks come amid renewed political debate over the zoning of the presidency ahead of the 2027 elections, following Atiku's emergence as the presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, ADC. And well, he was reflecting on the significance of June 12. Akume described the annulment of the election as one of the most painful episodes in Nigeria's democratic journey.
It is. As a protest rocks Lagos APC Secretariat over primary election disputes, alleged Justice Forum dominance, and resignation. Iyabo Obasanjo was treated fairly, says Ogun APC. That's as NDC moves to resolve Kano crisis as leaders meet Kwakwasia movement and members. Remember, this one, the Senate is calling for a total ban on importation of textiles. Seeks revival of local industries. Special intervention fund by BOI says Nigeria imports 99% of textiles from China, Indonesia, and Taiwan. Again, well, good one. It's good what they are calling for here, but they should lead by example. They are the most guilty when it comes to patronizing imported apparel. So they tell us that we should patronize local goods, we should wear locally made shoes, we should eat locally produced food, but go to their houses, you see them eating the best of foreign food, imported food,
and that we should buy locally made cars or assembled cars, but you see them in imported cars, expensive.
And I quoted the last time that they spent the countries had end resources to procure, like they do every 4 years, to buy vehicles for themselves. I said, okay, they are not listening to us that about the outrageous spending that they spend on importing these cars. But then some of us are saying, okay, why don't you patronize the locally assembled vehicle production plants? So we have quite a number of them in Nigeria. I don't want to mention names, but there are quite a number of them in Nigeria. But of course, they didn't listen as usual. They try to import from, especially that particular brand from Japan that is very popular. 2 brands from Japan that are very popular. That's what you see them riding in. And when you ask them, they will say it is because shamelessly they will say it is because the terrain, the roads leading to their various villages and communities are bad. That was what they said the last time. They said that was why they had to go for those cars. So why not actually ask the local assembler to actually replicate and make sure that they have those things that will stop your cars from getting spoiled when you visit your villages. Let's have this quick commercial. We'll be back.
Unstoppable you, fueling your vitality the whole day through. Embrace each challenge with renewed might. With Supermalt, your performance takes flight.
With 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, one Supermalt multivitamin after breakfast every day keeps you going.
Supermalt, unstoppable you.
Alright, we are back and the program is still conversation. For that story, the call by the Senate for the total ban on importation of textiles. It says the Senate has called for a total ban on the importation of textiles. The resolution, which it passed on Tuesday in Abuja, is part of measures to revive the country's textile industry. The Senate passed the resolution following a motion moved by Senator Sunday Katung, Kaduna South, and 19 others of the urgency to revive the textile industries in Nigeria, with particular reference to Kaduna, Kano axis. Senators speaking on the issue unanimously agreed that the industry must be urgently revived across the country. So what killed the thriving textile industry
in
Nigeria in the first place. I remember there was one very popular one in Lagos, Aswani.
Aswani, yes.
If you remember, and quite a number of them. And then, like I said, the Kano is there. So, what killed them in the first place? And now that you want them revived, is it by seeking for a total ban on importation? Why, as usual, they are placing the cart before the horse? Why not develop the local industries first and then gradually implement that ban on importation? If Nigerians see that locally made goods that you are producing locally and they see that it is of good quality, they will gladly part with their money to buy those locally made goods. That's one thing about Nigerians. If it is of quality and they are able to ascertain that you have produced quality goods, so why not first of all encourage the local manufacturers? And they are saying that Nigeria currently relies 99% on imports from China, Indonesia, Taiwan, among others, for its textile needs, a development which also means the outsourcing of job opportunities that the industry provides to Nigerians to other countries.
Well, you know, at the time I had the information. I did not know whether it came to fall or not that Adire, the popular fabric Adire, will be imported from these Asian countries. And I think some House of Reps and Senate members kicked against it. That how can Adire come from? They should be importing Adire from China, Taiwan, and all those. When we have the industries here, like you said, let them develop these industries locally.
We have them here. How come the Chinese, the Indonesians, and how come they all came here? Because I guess I want to have this belief that maybe they kind of learned the technology from us and took it there and developed it. Just like this story we hear about in palm oil, Indonesia, Malaysia and palm oil, how they came. So by the time they now start sending these things back to us, that is when we now wake up. We are calling there. We go on and on and on. So how did we allow that to happen in the first place? Why did we sit down in the first place and allow these nations to develop what we are supposed to develop? So when we now see that these nations are ripping us off, that's when we now remember. And again, at most, what they do here, they pay lip service to. As usual, I'm sure all this call for ban and whatever and then development of the local industry, I'm sure it's all a lip service. Somebody just feels that, okay,
let me talk.
Let me talk. Let me just say something on the floor of the Senate today. They never take these things seriously. Like I said, things that will improve a lot of the entire masses of Nigeria, they never take them seriously. There's this thing that some people talk because they have something to say, and some people talk because they have to say something. That is just what has happened there. I'm not expecting anything positive, any positive outcome from this. And if they are going to be serious about it, let them look at the factors that led to the killing of the local industries in the first place, and not just textile. Remember, talk about vehicle manufacturing, talk of manufacturing of vehicle batteries, talk about steel, so many across the country like that.
Well, this one is still talking democracy. The federal government highlights security gains, economic reforms of Tinubu's government, and that's talking about Democracy Day. And at the same time, federal government is also saying to Nigerians, Tinubu shares your pains over insecurity, economic hardships.
He shares our pains over everything.
Well, let me quickly see. Let me see the. Talking about the insecurity aspect now. Well, it talked about so many gains here. Well, the federal government on Tuesday used the platform of the 2026 Democracy Day press conference to present what described as significant achievements recorded under President Bola Tinubu's administration over the past 3 years, with particular emphasis on security, economic reforms, social welfare, anti-corruption efforts, and national cohesion. And well, it is that achievements on security. Well, Akume, speaking through George Akume, the Senate President, acknowledged that insecurity continues to threaten lives and livelihoods across parts of the country, but insisted that the government is making measurable progress in tackling terrorism, banditry, and other criminal activities. Well, in my own opinion, I don't I don't believe that. Yes, with what is on ground across the country. And again, we are, well.
Well, Mr. George Akume is also saying here that, well, speaking on June 12, he says that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar was part of decision for rotational presidency.
Yes, I read that earlier.
And xenophobic attacks, federal government begins evacuation of Nigerians from South Africa. That's our human rights lawyer, Mr. Femi Falana, is warning of threats to democracy ahead of 2027 elections.
Yes, remember when the Senate President said that, explained why the Senate can't look into, the security funds for security operations. And now, in security, reps invite service chiefs, finance minister, over funds released for security operations. Say insecurity escalated into complex humanitarian crisis driven by infiltration of transnational jihadist groups. Well, I don't know the motive of that invitation, because well, it is the House of Reps that said, the Senate said that why the Senate cannot, prod into the affairs of, into how the spending of money is allocated.
The Senate that turned down the audit of military spending.
Yeah.
But then the House of Reps seems to want to do just that now.
Yes.
Now,
they are saying they should appear before lawmakers and accounts for funds allocation and released for security operations amid worsening insecurity across the country. They
should. And in the meantime, bandits have killed an NSCD officer and abducted his daughter in Kogi, in Oluyole, the headquarters of Iyagba West Local Government area of Kogi State. And the attack occurred on Monday evening. Suspected bandits that claimed the life of a Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps officer, while his abducted daughter escaped from the marauders. The girl was said to have escaped. Now, sources from the command identified the deceased officer as Mr. Ayo, who was reportedly shot in the head during the attack.
How unfortunate.
And the IED explosion kills 1, injures 7 in Zamfara. An army police 4 kidnap attempt on Chinese expatriates in Ogun. Confirmed death of soldier, 4 others. Let's open the phone lines.
Yes, 07055 551985 080 009850. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Would you like to calling from
Good to have you, sir.
Yes, issue of Mr. President pressing himself. Yes, if I'm in position, I will press myself. But I want to believe pressing of people is most of the priority. Now, let me permit you to come to what happened yesterday. The statement created to me, State Governor, Professor Babagana Sulu, that he will no longer be responsible. What does that mean, sir? To me, it means they are failed at the federal, state, and local government. Are you with me, sir?
We are with you.
Yes, they are failed. So that means if they are not capable, they should leave office. God bless you. Have a nice day.
All right, thank you. 070 5555 1985. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now, the great scientist, Charles Darwin, said something. He said, you used to work on cells. And he said something about cells, how cells survive. He said, it's not the strongest of all cells that survive, not the swiftest, not the one that can run, or the one that, we said, the one that survives is the one that adapts quickly to the situation. So which applies to human life too. Now, Africans don't adapt. We see things as we see it 100 years before, or we see things 200 years before. I want to relate to the story of Ankara and Adire. We we don't seem to move with the world. We want to wish our problem away, that the problem should just go, the solution should just come. We just sleep and wake up, and the solution will just come. We don't want to do anything at all and work towards anything. If Chinese people saw our weakness, they came, took our Ankara and start manufacturing at a cheaper price and cheaper rate. And in Abuja they are doing Ankara. So our people will now go there and buy the fabric, better, well made, and sell it to us again. Now, they said they want to ban it, fine, all well and good. But it's the same people that will just go there and do a petition again because they cannot wear our own. Our own is not quality enough. So for them, they want to wear quality Ankara, they want to wear quality Adire, so they go back to the Chinese. Who we are. We are not patriotic at all. Leadership in this country has not been patriotic in everything. We have been there. We are loyal to our religion, to our ethnic, and to maybe to our family and our stomach, not to this country. And that's the difference between the advanced world and us. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jide. Very well said. Bimbo, be careful what you promise, and I'm referring to the Minister of Power, Joseph Tegbe. He's promising to deliver reliable, affordable electricity for every Nigerian home, business and industry. Well, the late Chief Bolage also said he was going to turn stone to bread in the power industry.
Yes.
So I think instead of saying this at this time, I think he should just take his time and study the industry. I know he means well, but just study things first, and see what he can do. People will hold him to his promises. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Nwere. Good to have you, sir.
Now, on the federal government achievement I mentioned, you can see in July the plane, they say it's security. You take any difference in security, you see the whole problem in the state, here and there, just like I mentioned, they are achieving security. You can imagine the line that they are blowing. All is a lie. If you want to balance the government, let's say they have part of subjects. In fact, we are getting 2%. That's why I get 16%. That's why I get 30%. That's why I get 20%. That's why I get 40%. We take it in our part. They set the exam. Let's go back to you. They set the exam. Let's mark in this example as a governor. Half subject. That's why I get excellency, 100%. That's why I get 80. That's why I get 70. That's why I get 50. Then the last one I get 45, which is another government. It can make clear. There's a federal government money. They're hopefully, and they're going to go places in the don't wear. I wonder, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nwere.
Thank you, Mr. Nwere. Data price in Nigerian mobile among top 4 cheapest globally. That is coming from the CEO of one of the telecom service providers, the one that uses the color yellow. So apparently he's saying that we ought to pay more for data.
Well, let's see what happens. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Abola, Mr. Bimbo.
Good morning.
This is Abaya with Happens from Oluyole.
Good to have you, sir.
Now, it is now behind that our leaders are playing politics with the people that are should kidnapped in the way. These people said they have not demanded all those things they have been filling up with. Although this is not instead of our leaders lying. Now, what is now difficult in this whole scenario? They say we release our people that are in your custody. It's not difficult. If I know, we say that it is better for 99 people who are suspects to go scot-free than to conduct a single innocent person. Release these people to them, let us have these people back. We value these people that are in their custody more than these terrorists. You cannot even defeat these terrorists. Let that some people that are even more deadly outside than these people that you are holding. What's the problem with these our leaders? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Apamu.
Now, back to that data issue. How are we sure that we are not paying more already before he came out with this statement?
Because recently the data tariffs were pushed up.
Yes.
So I don't know if at that will still remain the cheapest. Well, I don't know. It's in the industry. I guess I should know.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
This is
Good to have you, comrade.
About the new minister of power said that I'm a commission of better light. And comparison with Bolagi. Yes, it is true what you said. And that time, Baba Bolagi tried to fulfill his promise to them. But he failed because Obasanjo is not behind him. The Obasanjo that put him there is not behind him. It's not supporting him to succeed. So that's the source of his failure. But the difference now is that this one, the person that put him there, Bola Tinubu, wants this one to succeed. So that's the difference. And he will succeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, comrade. Time will tell.
Yes, you remember when the military under former President Babangida, put Professor Dr. Tai Sholani as president of the chairman of the People's Bank.
That was a trapable book.
Of course.
They wanted to steal Baba.
And like you said, you said that you said it was Obasanjo that put Bola Ige there, just like the same scenario.
And probably primed him to fail.
Yes. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good to have you, sir.
I swear by God, I am not a politician. I am not a card-carrying member of any political party. God is my business. But now that this present administration is bent on inflicting injuries into every Nigeria, God, in His infinite mercy, will not let it last this year. In Jesus' name. Good morning.
Good morning.
I didn't get that memo.
Well, 07055551985. 4 more minutes to go on the program. 08055009850. Hello, good morning.
Hello,
Okay.
Papa Father did not do like it. It was Chief Bolage that chose that ministry, and he said it himself. He said he chose that ministry himself. We always make one mistake in this country. We think being a good governor or a successful governor will make you a successful minister. No. Ministerial job requires technicalities. You must know some certain things and what to do. Governor, you can be there. In fact, some of them travel for 4 years. Some of them travel because it was the commissioners that were working. All they do is to pay salary and give us food and other do roads. And then even the primary can do that. So, but in ministerial, you need technicalities. That's why we've been failing in this country. Only 2% of ministers since 1999 are performing in this country. That's just not that they don't know what they are doing, but technicalities of the job they don't know. This one too that is there too. The technicalities of the job he has not shown us because he's a first class civil engineer. He has been an administrator. He has been an auditor and all that. But what we are expecting to do by now is not to be talking, it's to be working. But he's talking. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
But at the same time, it was him that chose the ministry, but it was President Obasanjo that put him there as a minister of the Federal Republic.
All Mr. Jide is saying is that that portfolio was his choice.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But it was the president that put him as a minister. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, sorry, we can't hear you.
Hello, good morning.
IMF says poverty hits 63% in Nigeria despite reform gains, and they are still insisting there are reforms with poverty at 63%. IMF are the manipulators and the cause of our problems. They are the ones that say we should do certain things, and when those things fail, they also blame us for doing as they said. But the federal government has responded that they are reaffirming commitment to economic reforms. The IMF is saying that despite that poverty has climbed to 63% of the population, we have still recorded gains in macroeconomic stability.
Hello, good morning. Quickly.
Hello.
Good morning.
Quickly.
Good morning. I didn't this calling from Ikosi. We are enjoying your program over there.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, check your time, and we have to go. Been an interesting time on conversation, and we'll be back same time tomorrow morning, God willing. My name is Tola Teriba.
And my name is Bimbo Akonbi. Thank you very much for listening. Enjoy your day.
Conversation.
Wake up, it's choco time. Donald Choco is here with a taste you love. Just open, pour, and enjoy the chocolatey ride. Donald Choco 3 in 1. Ooh, taste it, love it. Donald Choco 3 in 1. Ooh, I love it.
Introducing the new Dano Choco 3-in-1. It's tasty, creamy, and satisfying. Taste it, love it.
Yes, good morning, sports fans. It's Wednesday morning right here from the live days of Oluyole 98.5 FM. And of course, Sport Tidbit coming to your listening pleasure while putting you in the mood for the FIFA World Cup. And of course, 24 hours to go until the kickoff